Good day. It's January 27th, 2025. It's just been a week into the Trump's second presidency. On his first day alone, the president signed at least 40 executive orders, mostly about the things he promised he would do on day one of his presidency. I'm Sam Buban. Welcome to The Pulse.
And I'm Joe Buban. Welcome to this week's edition.
Last week, on day one of Trump's presidency, he signed 40 executive orders, and among the more important ones has something to do with ending birthrights of children born in the United States who are children of undocumented or illegal immigrants, or if the mother was only here on a temporary legal status, like a student or work visa. Here's how President Trump worded his executive order ending birthright of all children born in the United States that has been guaranteed under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. The executive order, signed on January 20th, 2025, people born in the United States are not citizens if their mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the father was not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of the said person's birth, or if the mother was in the U.S. on a lawful but temporary basis like a student, a tourist, or work visa, and the father is not a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. The executive order was to take effect 30 days from the date of signing and will not affect children who are born in the U.S. before the executive order took effect. But immediately, within 24 hours of Trump's signing of the executive order, 18 of the state attorneys general, who are Democrats, had filed a lawsuit in the federal court in Massachusetts. Among those who did so is Nevada's own Attorney General Aaron Ford, California's Attorney General Rob Bonta, and New York Attorney General Letitia James. They were joined by 15 other attorney generals in around the country. The legal challenge is based importantly on the constitutionality of Trump's executive order. As such, birthright has been enshrined in the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and has been used as the basis of citizenship for more than 150 years, and that any president has no power to change the Constitution and its amendments. The 18 state attorneys general put forward the challenge to protect the constitutional rights and stop the creation of so-called second-class citizens or subclass of babies being born in the United States. There are very few legal scholars who believe and side with Trump that the 14th Amendment is subject to a different or fringe interpretation. One constitutional law professor described that any lawyer who would represent Trump or his administration on the case ending the 14th Amendment citizenship birthright is a unicorn. Instead, Trump's executive order claims that the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to give universal citizenship to anyone born in the United States, adopting a legal theory that has been pushed by a minority of legal experts, which claims the 14th Amendment granting birthright citizenship to people who are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States means that amendment doesn't apply to children of undocumented immigrants who are residing in the U.S. unlawfully or people who aren't permanent residents. Such constitutional law has never been a subject of any other interpretation in the 156 years since it was passed, until Donald Trump used it as a campaign promise for his second presidency. And some lawyers on his side think that it can be interpreted differently. This case can go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, but would they interpret it now to side with the wishes of President Trump? The 14th Amendment states all persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and the state where they reside, which had traditionally been interpreted that everyone born in the United States automatically becomes a U.S. citizen, with one extremely narrow exceptions for people who are not subject to U.S. law, like children of foreign diplomats. As of mid-Thursday last week, already one federal judge in Seattle, Washington, blocked the implementation of Trump's executive order based on a lawsuit filed by Washington State Attorney General and Attorneys Generals of Arizona, Oregon, and Illinois. Senior U.S. District Court Judge John C. Coffenor, Reagan appointee, heard 25 minutes of arguments and issued an order from the bench blocking the executive order, describing it as blatantly unconstitutional. He issued a temporary injunction, but further hearing will be done in the next 14 days in order to determine if it will be permanently blocked. This will be a long and protracted battle that can go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. We will see in the next 3 to 4 years what the Supreme Courts will say. This is going to be a prolonged legal battle, which the Supreme Court may not have the appetite for it, according to one constitutional expert.
Our explainer for today, for our viewers out there, executive orders are unilateral actions of a president and not subject to approval by Congress in order for them to take effect. However, such executive order can be a subject of interpretation by the court as to its legality. That's why there are always challenges to executive orders in the United States. This particular executive order are now being challenged by 18 state attorneys generals and 2 rights organizations, the ACLU, or the American Civil Liberties Union, and the Lawyers for Civil Rights. The Trump administration will argue its case in court, usually represented by the U.S. Solicitor General, who is the 4th-ranking official in the U.S. Justice Department. One other thing that President Trump did on the first day was pardoning January 6 rioters who had been convicted, including violence against police officers. More than 1,500 of these rioters received a presidential pardon and commutation of sentence for those convicted and sentenced with lengthy sentences. All of the federal judges in the D.C. area issued public statement disapproving the president's actions of pardoning and commuting the sentences of violent January 6 rioters, where police officers died and seriously injured.
Now let's take a look at the cabinet appointments of President Donald Trump. As of late last week, so far only one had been confirmed by the Senate, and it was the appointment of Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. The Secretary of State is the executive branch official in charge of the country's foreign policy and oversee our embassies and consulates worldwide. This is equivalent to the Secretary of Foreign Affairs in other countries.
Pam Bondi, who is Florida's Attorney General before being nominated by Trump to lead the U.S. Justice Department, is still faced tough questioning from Democratic members of the Senate Committee on Justice. When asked about her position on pardons of violent insurrectionists on January 6 of 2021, she said that they should not be pardoned. However, President Trump pardoned 1,500 offenders of the January 6 Capitol attack. In contrast to Bondi's statement, same thing that Vice President J.D. Vance stated. We are going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for more on Trump's appointment.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
all the ladies in the house. After you've gone and left me crying, after you've gone, there's no denying.
Mga kababayan! Welcome back to Chika Chika Today. Who is this mystery woman that Maynila's Principe of Pop seems to be smitten with?
Can't I just say, I like you?
What are your intentions with my mother, sir?
He must be Miguel.
Oy, Sin City sweethearts!
You break her heart. I'll break your pretty K-pop face.
I don't want him to think that I'm trying to be his dad.
Is this the real deal? Will she be the inspiration for a new love song? Or quite possibly another one of Gabriel's heartbreak hits? We will keep you posted on any updates as this story unfolds.
Made to Shine, coming soon. Presented by Philam TV Network. Written and directed by Giovanni Espiritu.
Executive produced by Sam Buban and Esmeralda Padilla Gould.
Welcome back to the polls. The various Senate committees had finished their confirmation hearings on several of Trump's cabinet picks, but had not been voted upon by the full Senate. Among them, for Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is a former hedge fund manager who had supported Al Gore's bid for presidency and had worked with Democrats, billionaire George Soros, as his investor. He will likely be confirmed by the Senate.
Committee hearing for Trump's pick for Defense Secretary is also finished, but not yet voted on. Nominee Pete Hegseth is likely to be confirmed, but has been a hard sell for Trump in the Senate. Pete Hegseth, during the hearing, was asked by Senator Tammy Duckworth if he can name the countries who are members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. He could not name one correctly. Hegseth said both Korea and Japan, but all are not correct. Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins are among two Republican senators who are not voting for Pete Hegseth.
A former governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum, who challenged Trump in the 2024 primaries, is named as his Secretary of Interior. He is described as a pro-fossil fuel nominee. The Department of Interior is in charge of public land management and the granting of oil drilling permits for oil companies. Burgum is a venture capitalist and believed to be one of the richest politicians in the U.S. with an estimated net worth of at least $1.1 billion.
What about the U.S. attorneys throughout the country and our territories? There are a total of 93 U.S. attorneys that serves as chief prosecutors in different districts spread out among the 50 states and Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands. These U.S. attorneys are also appointed by the President and serves at the pleasure of the President. All are under the supervision of the U.S. Department of Justice. All of these 93 U.S. attorneys had to resign to give the new President to appoint his own picks and to be confirmed by the Senate. Among those who resigned is U.S. Attorney for Nevada Jason Frierson. He was the first African American to hold that position. A new U.S. Attorney for Nevada will be appointed by Trump and confirmed by the Senate. The acting U.S. Attorney for Nevada, the first Assistant U.S. Attorney for Nevada, Sue Fahmy, until a new appointee assumes office.
Travel around the United States has been disrupted in the past 2 weeks as blizzard-like conditions are blanketing more than half of the country from the mountain time zone states to the eastern seaboard. While the Pacific West are experiencing drought, the temperature is going extreme, temperature going as low as 22 degrees Fahrenheit. In Nevada alone yesterday, temperature has gone down to 28 degrees in some parts of the Las Vegas Valley. At that temperature, snow would have been falling if there was precipitation. In the airline industry nationwide, already 8,367 flights has been canceled and 89,485 were delayed. For international flights, 24,741 of combined U.S. inbound and outbound flights has been delayed. For those of you planning to travel, check the weather forecast of your destination and be aware of the waivers on the airline ticket you are purchasing. Waivers that make you agree that your ticket has no recourse for canceled flight or delayed flight. We are going to take a break. Please stay with us.
All the ladies in the house. After you've gone and left me crying. After you've gone, there's no denying.
Mga kababayan! Welcome back to Chika Chika Today. Who is this mystery woman that Maynila's Principe of Pop seems to be smitten with?
Can't I just say, I like you?
What are your intentions with my mother, sir?
You must be Miguel.
Oh, Sin City sweethearts!
You break her heart, I'll break your pretty K-pop face.
I don't want him to think that I'm trying to be his dad.
Is this the real deal? Will she be the inspiration for a new love song? Or quite possibly another one of Gabriel's heartbreak hits? We will keep you posted on any updates as this story unfolds.
Made to Shine, coming soon. Presented by Philam TV Network. Written and directed by Giovanni Espiritu.
Executive produced by Sam Buban and Esmeralda Padilla-Gould.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Welcome back to The Pulse. In our international news, in the Ukraine war, Reuters news agency reported that 3 Ukrainians were killed early Saturday when Russian forces launched a combined drone and missile strike on Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. 2 further attacks in the south of the country also claimed 3 lives, according to local officials. Timur Kachenko, the head of Kiev's military administration, said that explosions erupted throughout the pre-dawn sky when air defenses were triggered to thwart the attack, which also injured 3 other people. According to him, the attack destroyed a water pipe, a business center, a retail mall, and a metro station. Dmitry Lubinets, the parliamentary ombudsman, posted on social media, Russian forces first launched drones and then a ballistic missile strike. These acts merely underscore the enemy's ruthlessness and barbarity. Rescuers picked over rubble as they probed through a flooded street. A burnt remnants of a van could be seen in front of the station, which had blown out windows and twisted metal on its face. They were spotted carrying a corpse bag into a truck and expecting missile remnants as daylight broke. Ukrainian media were informed by Air Force spokesman Yuri Inat that while both missiles targeted for Kiev were destroyed, one was shot down low altitude, causing significant damage. According to Regional Governor Ivan Fedorov, another Russian missile attack in the southeast city of Zaporizhzhia killed one person and injured 11 others. Moscow, which has denied purposefully targeting civilians, habitually did not immediately respond to requests for comments. 2 persons were killed by Russian shelling in a town north of the regional center, also known as Kherson, according to Alexander Berkudin, the governor of the nearby southern province of Kherson. Russia launched 24 out of 39 drones in 2 out of 4 missiles throughout Ukraine during the nocturnal attack, according to the Ukrainian military. According to reports, a Russian missile assault on President Volodymyr Zelensky's village of Kyiv on Friday killed 5 people and partially destroyed an educational building. On Saturday, one of the women injured in the incident passed away in the hospital. In reaction to Saturday's attack, Zelensky posted on social media, quote-unquote, "Anyone who supports the Russian government in this conflict needs to be subjected to pressure as powerful as these strikes." Since the beginning of its nearly 3-year-old invasion of Ukraine, Russia has regularly launched airstrikes against towns and cities located far behind the battle line, focusing especially on vital infrastructures.
In Africa, Nigerian fuel tanker truck explosion claims 86 lives, according to a report by Al Jazeera. In a statement by the nation's emergency organization, 86 people had been killed and numerous others injured in a petrol truck explosion in northern Nigeria's Niger state. The explosion occurred early on Saturday morning close to the Sulija region when someone tried to use a generator to move petrol from one tanker to another lorry. Ibrahim Audu Husini, the spokesman for the National Emergency Management Agency in Niger State, said 86 people had died as a result of the tanker explosion. He updated an earlier toll of 70 by saying, "We buried 86 burnt corpses between 12 noon yesterday and 2 a.m. today. We had to get locals to dig the mass grave by hand because we couldn't get excavators. So it took us 14 hours to bury the bodies," she said. 52 additional persons reportedly sustained severe burns from the explosion, according to him. In a previous announcement, the National Emergency Management Authority said that the explosion had destroyed 15 stores. After the vehicle overturned, individuals hurried to clean up and salvage the petrol leak, according to Kumar Chakwam, a sector commander for Niger State with the Federal Road Safety Corps. He sent statements saying the tanker exploded into flames, engulfing another tanker. According to Chakwam, the majority of the victims were burned beyond recognition, adding that firemen had successfully extinguished the fire, he said. In that statement, Niger State Governor Mohamed Bago acknowledged the occurrence and claimed that a large fire sparked by the tanker explosion is thought to have killed several people. He called the situation unfortunate, heartbreaking, and worrisome. In Africa, where Nigeria is the biggest oil producer, these kinds of tragedies have become frequent, killing dozens of people as the nation struggles with its worst cost of living crisis in a generation. Since President Bola Tinubu eliminated a decades-old subsidy on gasoline in May of 2023, the price of petrol in Nigeria has increased by more than 400%. Because of this, a lot of people have put their lives in danger to rescue fuel during tanker truck accidents. A virtually comparable tragedy occurred in the Jigawa state, also in northern Nigeria, in October 2024, killing around 150 people. An increasing number of people approached an overturned tanker to retrieve fuel that they could then resell in the black market, resulting in almost 100 additional injuries. The authorities planned a sizable funeral where several of the victims were interred together. Nigerian President Tinubu reiterated the government's resolve to evaluate and improve gasoline transportation safety procedures following the October last year tragedy. Police would also bolster efforts to stop more accidents, he added, by stepping up patrols, enforcing safety rules more strictly, and implementing other highway safety measures. In an effort to combat oil theft, authorities have also strengthened security measures, such as placing gunboats on strategic waterways. We will leave it at that at today's broadcast. I'm Sam Buban. Please join us again next week.
And I'm Joe Buban. God bless your week.